everybody. I am so excited today. Today I have a special guest, Sarah Wessels, with me, and she is one of our top 6 dream builders in the DreamBuilder Academy program. And they were chosen off of their personal stories as well as epic goals that they're willing to achieve this year. So today I wanted to have Sarah join us just to talk about, we're in week 5 right now, where she's at along her journey, some of the big wins that she's already have, and to share her $1 million day with us, as well as her 12-hour walk. So Sarah, why don't you just tell us a little bit about yourself and your background?
Well, hello, everyone. I am 4 years old and I am mom of 4. I've been married for almost 22 years to my high school sweetheart, and we own a couple small businesses together and have a small little farmette with some cute little animals running around. And so that's sort of my family life. And I started this journey with Jesse in April, with the hopes of just kind of, stepping out of, normal everyday survival mode with a bunch of teenagers and just, starting to take care of myself again, getting back in shape. And with that said, our family has had a pretty epic struggle with Lyme disease. Myself, my husband, and my oldest son all have battled it. And it really kind of threw me for a loop when it came to what my physical abilities were and what my body could handle. And so this program has taught me a lot about getting over that mental hurdle of the fear of, pushing myself too far and not being able to, and moving backwards. So I've moved forward a ton, and that's been really incredible for me to kind of get over that limiting.
That was so crazy to hear that, like, your whole family had Lyme disease. I was like, how in the world?
Half of us. Yeah. It was wild. Yeah.
But it's so incredible, like, what you've overcome since then, just with, your physical abilities, but like your mental abilities as far as seeing what's really possible for you. And
exactly.
So it's just incredible. And I think it's such a big story to share with other people. So moving on for the $1 million day, let's go over that real quick. So, for those who don't know, like the $1 million day, I'll just kind of explain it. So it's like a 24-hour period where it's like 100% dedication to eliminating procrastination in every area of your life. And in result, it's like freeing up your energy. It's a focus to receive new ideas and opportunities and just a higher levels of productivity. So this was a challenge that we did in week 3, I believe. And so it's called the $1 million day. And basically what it is if I were to say, hey, I'm going to give you $1 million if you can complete all of the things that you've been procrastinating in your life, could you do it in 24 hours? And so I had everybody, and it was a very stressful thing for a lot of people. And it was stressful for me too. When I first did it, it felt like overwhelming, like, because you just start thinking of all these things that you've had been putting off, decluttering in your life. Just anything from doctor's visits to making appointments to cleaning out your emails and decluttering your closet. So everybody kind of made a list. And so I wanted you to kind of share with me, like, what were some of like the big ones that you did in overcoming, like with your $1 million day? Like, what were some big things that you procrastinated on, and what did you accomplish, and how did you feel after that?
Well, I want to say, like, the reason we started talking about the $1 million day is because a lot of your program focuses on figuring out what your goals are and then choosing a path towards, accomplishing them. And I commented in one of our weekly calls that, I just feel overwhelmed all the time by all the stuff that's not done. And then you were like, okay, you have to do this, so that's kind of how that all like was born.
It was Sarah's fault that you all had to do $1 million day.
But it was true. It's a constant crutch for me, like, just to be like, oh, I can't ever like get beyond my daily tasks because there's so many of them. And so making that list and seeing all that needed to be done, and then just saying, I'm going to do this all today. Now, I didn't get through my list. My list could have been like a week $1 million challenge, but I got so much done. Like, our downstairs bathroom is being remodeled. So everything that was in our like huge bathroom is in our living room. And we have like an open concept. And so dining room and living room and office space is all kind of crammed into one big space. And I'm not a super organized person, so I don't really notice it on a daily basis. But when I did the like before video, like of my laundry piled up and my paperwork piled up and my kids' schoolwork piled up, and I was like, I don't know if I want to show that to people. It was like embarrassing to me because it's just my daily life and I don't think about it too much because this is my home. But then when you show it to other people, it was a fear. Like, I'm like, people are going to judge me. And so, about 2 hours in, I felt like I just made a bigger mess than what I had started with. But I actually, I cleared up basically those 3 designated spaces in that time frame of that day. And I had a bunch of stuff on my list that I had wanted to do outside, but at about halfway point, I was like, no, I'm just going to stay focused on the inside of my house. And so I got my office space organized. I got files filed. I got things that we didn't need anymore thrown away. I even did stuff that wasn't on my list because I was like, oh, we only have to keep your tax stuff for 7 years. So this stuff that's older than 7 years, it's going to the burn pile. Like I added stuff as I was going that made sense. And my husband came home and he was like, whoa, this looks amazing, because it is just so freeing to have a clean space. Yeah. And then I had commented yesterday on our call that my big win for the last week, which would have been week 4, was that I maintained that space. Like I tend to just set stuff down, like I'm just going to put this here. And I was like, no, I'm going to put it where it goes, or I'm going to throw it away, or, like
every place has a home, right? Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So I'm trying to, kind of retrain myself to keep this space the way it is. So.
Right. That was my next question. How you keep those things, like everything has a place and a space, positive habits that you've created. Also, are you doing every week those mini $1 million days that we talked about? Like,
yes, okay. I have a list, right here. And it's like a miniature list. And actually I've been picking away at the stuff that I didn't get accomplished. Like I have that big master list still. And then like at the beginning, or well, I guess on Sundays, I'm trying to evaluate what things I can get done in that next week, but I think it's something that was so beneficial that I will continue to do $1 million day, like quarterly, or, at least a few times a year to really purge and make sure that it stays this way.
Free up space in your life. I love it, because then you're able to expand and really focus on the things moving forward in your life when you get rid of the things that are in the rearview mirrors of your life that have
exactly
gone undone or unfinished. And what an amazing feeling, right? Like, doesn't that feel so incredible when you feel like you actually start to end, like finish something, like a task or a space in your house that's like complete,
Yeah. Well, I'd like to say, like, as a mom, especially of teenagers, like I often feel like nothing's ever finished. There's always more dishes. There's always more laundry. There's always more dog hair. Like you do things, but it feels like sometimes people follow you around and make a mess behind you on purpose. I don't know if they do or not. It's like a conspiracy.
Tornado behind you. And you're like, what?
Right. So the fact that, that so much got done in that one time was really rewarding, for the feeling that, you don't always get stuff done, that all of it got done. So that was huge.
Awesome. Okay. So let's talk about the 12-hour walk. And so I'll explain to that for people. So if nobody's heard of this was actually just a video that I had shared, a podcast that I thought was so phenomenal. I wanted to share with my DreamBuilder Academy group. And Sarah decided to go the extra mile and actually apply it and achieve it. So I was like mind blown, like, oh my gosh, I love this. So the 12-hour walk, for those who
I spent 54 consecutive days crossing Antarctica, walking alone, 12 hours per day, just me and my thoughts. The journey taught me some of life's greatest lessons.
12-hour walk is a life-changing experience for anyone who has the desire to shift their mindset and live a more fulfilling life.
I did it. So grateful.
Man, what an experience. The expansive space that you can have in your mind.
I have been living from this place of overall limitation. Today just built a lot of confidence.
Can't stress enough what a positive experience it was today. Being alone is not necessarily lonely.
Silence is not the absence of something, but the presence of everything.
Join the global movement and take the 12-hour walk.
Sarah achieved that. She came up with a goal that she was going to. And why don't you share your 12-hour walk?
So immediately when I listened to his interview, I was like, I love this. I love the idea. Not only because, I love to hike and walk, but also the idea of just being alone with my own thoughts for 12 straight hours. Some people would think that's crazy, but I really wanted that opportunity, for growth and just kind of learn a little bit more about myself, and a huge challenge to see if I could do it. So I knew immediately I was going to do it. And then I decided immediately that I was going to do it really soon, because I also don't like to be cold. And we're getting into the weather where it's going to be a little cold. So I was like, okay, it's going to be decent weather this week. I'm going to do it next week. And so it just happened to be the day after I did my $1 Million Day. And I really thought that I could be alone with myself easily after spending 12 or a whole entire day alone with my stuff. So so immediately after I decided I wanted to do the walk, I got online and on Google Maps, and I live on the east side of East Moline, like right near the city. My parents live in Thompson, Illinois. And so I was like, I wonder how far that is. And just, out of the beauty of the universe, it's exactly a 12-hour walk from Rapid City, Illinois to Thompson, Illinois. And there's a bike path the whole way. So I'm like, I'm doing it. Then at the end, I'll have somebody to pick me up and feed me. So I started at 6 o'clock in the morning, and I walked until 6 o'clock at night, and it was beautiful. It was, within the first hour, I was like, 12 hours? I don't know. I doubted myself, but by the time I got to like 3 hours, I was like, there's no way I'm not finishing this, And at the end of the day, I was very tired for sure, but I never wavered on the idea that I was making it until 6 p.m. and that, my mind carried me through. Like when my body said, yeah, I'm kind of done, my mind like definitely got me through that. So that was pretty powerful to see what you can make yourself do. And some of the comical moments, like when I wasn't quite sure, like I reminded myself that I checked my distance. You're not supposed to be on your phone during the challenge, but I wanted to see how many steps I had gone. I had to turn off the GPS on my watch because otherwise the battery would have died. It wouldn't last that whole time. So I could only go off my steps. And so I did the calculation, and it said I'd gone a little over 26 miles. And at that point I was so spent, and I was like, people run this far. I can definitely walk this far. And then another time towards the very end, when I was like just really dragging, I was, yes, exactly. but I was like, I can do it. My body is physically able to do this. I can do it. And I'm not pulling a 375-pound sled like Colin did in the Antarctic. And it was like 60 degrees. Like, I'm like, it could be so much worse.
Right. So I forgot to mention that. Not only did he walk Antarctica 12 hours, it was, a 300 and so almost,
75.
375-pound sled. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I'll have to share the link for people to listen to the Conquest podcast, because it's so powerful.
It's very good.
Obviously, it forced you to get out, and I know Trish Long did it as well. I'm gonna have to interview her because I know she didn't have the best weather, like you were saying.
I was very lucky.
Like all of it. You were very lucky that day. Awesome.
Yeah, but the book, I bought the book after we talked about it too. The 12-hour walk book it's really good. Like, so many good analogies to, like,
I was going to ask you if there's like something you could give, like a takeaway from the book so far, like, or one thing you can remember that you got something out of it.
He talks about, like, he rode across what's it called? This really treacherous part of ocean down south of Africa, or I don't remember the location. Drake Passage maybe is what it's
like
called.
One of the most dangerous cross to ever do.
So he tells a story about how he went to a rowing coach to practice, and some guy he knew, because he had said he was a triathlete, and so he had the connections to all these people. And he said like his first experience, he like fell out of the boat, like on his face in the water, and like was like could have been humiliated and stuff. And the guy was like, so you're not a rower? And he's like, I've never rowed before in my life, so no, I'm not a rower yet. So I thought it was really powerful for him to say like, yeah, I'm very much not good at this, but I'm determined that I will be. So that's kind of how I took the walk. Like I'm not sure I can do this, but I will.
That's one of the most powerful takeaways. Literally just one word, yet. Anything in our life. And it's so powerful. I mean, anything we want to achieve in our life, it doesn't mean, okay, yes, you're not that right now, but
right.
What does it take? Right.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Beautiful. Okay. So I'm going to ask just some random questions.
Oh, good.
So if you could start a business tomorrow, what would that business be?
I would be a writer in some sense. I would write for myself and also like for other people with content, type stuff.
Yes. You are going to be an author.
Yes, I know.
I love it. Okay. So then speaking of books, then if you had a book to write tomorrow, what would you write about?
I have already started on a book about like our journey with Lyme disease, and it's very layered. So that's my struggle and my challenge right now is kind of organizing it, because there's multiple layers to what we went through, both medically and emotionally, and trying to raise a family and run businesses all at the same time, and then coming out on the other side even stronger. So I think I have a lot to say about it, and I think it's a powerful message, like of just self-advocating and believing that things will get better, and then finding a way. So that's kind of what we did.
Really inspiring. Very inspiring for people. And have you ever done a mind map, or have you used that?
I don't think so.
technique?
I don't think so.
Okay. You have to check it out. I'll send you something for that, for writing your book and like getting everything
awesome
spaced out and your thoughts out, basically mapped out in front of you.
That's great.
Okay. Last question. So if you could go back and give your 18-year-old self one piece of advice, what would it be?
To take care of myself, because I and a giver, I used to always put other people first, and kind of take time that I didn't take the time for me, both physically and mentally and spiritually, when I was younger. And I think that that I look back and wonder, if I'd given myself more, what more would I've had to give to my kids and my husband, and stuff. So, that would be it. Just take care of you first, and then you're better able to take care of others.
Beautiful. Awesome. Is there anything you want to add that I didn't ask you?
I think I just want to share that, like, be willing to really evaluate yourself. Like, why do you do the things you do, and the stuff that you like, and the stuff that you don't like what causes that, and find ways to, improve or get rid of those things that aren't serving you. Mm-hmm. And to like, there's one thing that you've taught me is like, when I say, okay, well, this is my problem, you give me a offer of a solution. Like, why don't you try this? Or have you done this? Or have you done that? Like, as I said earlier, like, I like to hike, but I was feeling a little apprehension sometimes through the media and other things when you hear about solo female hikers and the little scares that you might have on the trail. And you were like, don't you have a big dog? Like, yeah. Well, why don't you take him with me? Well, because he doesn't really walk on a leash. Okay, well, then get him trained to walk on a leash. Like, some stuff is so simple, and it's literally right there. And it just, takes a little tiny bit of effort to solve a simple problem, so
And look how
um,
beautiful that all came together. Like,
yes, so now I have a new hiking buddy, my like best friend doggy, and now I
yeah,
don't have that fear of being alone on the trail. Like, he's
right.
definitely going to protect me if anything ever comes about. So
He's a horse. It's like a massive dog. Oh, and so that's the other thing. You didn't even share like what's your epic goal that you are doing for our Dream Builder Academy, like throughout this, because we didn't even
so
talk
my
about
ultimate goal, like my all-time,
Yeah.
can't always think
Like-
about it, know I want to do it someday, but like has has restraints on it just based on my current circumstances, is to through hike the Appalachian Trail.
Yep.
So that's like a 2,000 some mile hike. Like, you sleep with what you live with your backpack, like that's all you possess, and I want to do that someday. But given the fact that I have teenagers and businesses and stuff to take care of here, that's not realistic for the near future. So I've decided that I'm just going to prepare my body and my mind so that when I do have the opportunity to do that, I'm ready. And there's no limits to, me just taking off and going. So my goal for this challenge is to hike 200 miles by December 1st, when the challenge is over, and also to hike at a new trail every week. So far I've done that. Like, every week we've gone to a different trail, and now I have my dog, so I'm a little more confident to like go places that I'm not familiar with.
Yeah.
And I don't have an exact tally on my number, but during my 12-hour walk, I did hike 30 miles.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I've
What
at
do you
least
have for
got
your goal
like
each week? Yeah. Wasn't it like 20 or 20 miles? Or something like that?
10. It would have been 10.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To be
So
able to hit your 200. Yeah.
so sometimes my week doesn't allow me to take a 10 mile hike, but I am able to make that up in other weeks. So
Exactly. I love
yeah.
it. And you're definitely, I mean, your big one is going to be in 3 years, but that's okay. We need to have a big goal that we're going
Yeah.
for, and then little journeys along the way to get us there. So
Exactly.
awesome. Thank you so much, Sarah. I'm like, Sarah, put your words together. Thank you so much for sharing. It was awesome. Yeah. I appreciate your time and being able to share with other people. So
Thank you.
all right. Thank you, girl. I will see you later.
All right.
About to